Right now, somewhere, a person is deleting a contact, not in anger, in calm, with the quiet, surgical clarity of someone who has decided that this relationship no longer serves them. The last message was weeks ago. The emotional math has been running in the background for months, and now the verdict is in, done. The feeling that follows is not sadness. It is relief, sharp, immediate, almost physical, like removing a weight that had been pressing on the chest without being noticed. This feeling is real. The relief is genuine, and it is also the exact feeling that makes this pattern so difficult to see clearly. Because relief is the reward signal the brain sends for both of these. Removing a genuine threat and avoiding something that is merely uncomfortable, the signal is identical. The mechanism underneath is not. This month has tracked a single thread through 9 videos, how the brain manages stimulation, connection, sensitivity, and withdrawal. Today the thread reaches its sharpest point. Not everyone who cuts people off is protecting themselves. Some are building a structure that protects at first and imprisons over time, and the difference between the two is invisible from the outside, even to the person doing it. The neuroscience of social disconnection starts with something counterintuitive. James Cohen's social baseline theory, developed at the University of Virginia, proposes that the human brain does not treat social connection as a bonus. It treats it as a baseline operating condition. The brain literally expects other people to be present. When they are, cognitive load decreases. The prefrontal cortex shares the burden of threat assessment, resource planning, and emotional regulation with the perceived social network. When they are absent, the brain compensates by running all of those processes alone. Cortisol rises, the amygdala becomes more reactive, the threat detection system shifts toward hypervigilance. Isolation in this framework is not neutral, it is expensive. The brain is working harder to accomplish what it was designed to do in partnership. This is where the pattern splits into 2 tracks that look identical. Track 1. Intentional boundary setting. A person evaluates a relationship, recognizes that it is consistently harmful, draining energy, violating trust, causing measurable damage, and makes a deliberate decision to end it. The emotional process includes grief, doubt, a period of adjustment. The boundary is specific. This person, this behavior, this dynamic. It does not generalize. After the cut, the person remains open to other connections. New relationships form. The social system contracts in one area and expands in another. The boundary served its function, and the person moved forward. Track 2. Avoidant coping. A person feels overwhelmed by the accumulated weight of social interaction, the disappointments, the misunderstandings, the effort required to maintain closeness. Rather than addressing the specific relationships that cause pain, the brain generalizes. People are exhausting. Relationships are risky. The safest position is alone. Carver and Connor Smith, in their 2010 review of coping strategies, describe avoidant coping as a pattern where the person withdraws not from a specific threat, but from the category of experience that contains the threat. The cut is not surgical. It is wholesale. First the difficult relationships go, then the moderately difficult ones, then the ones that require any effort at all. The social network does not contract, it collapses, and the relief that follows each cut reinforces the pattern. The brain learns. Fewer people equals less pain. The equation feels correct in the short term. In the long term, it creates a fortress with one resident and no exits. John Cacioppo's research on loneliness at the University of Chicago, published across 2 decades of work with Stephanie Hawkley, adds the layer that makes this urgent. Chronic loneliness does not just feel bad, it recalibrates the threat detection system at a biological level. The brain of a chronically lonely person begins interpreting neutral social signals as hostile. A text message that does not get a fast response becomes evidence of rejection. A friend who cancels a plan becomes proof that people cannot be relied upon. A colleague's neutral expression in a meeting becomes a sign of disapproval. The threshold for perceiving threat drops steadily, month after month. And the result is that the evidence for cutting people off appears to multiply. Not because more people are behaving badly, but because the perceptual filter has shifted to detect threats that are not there. The lonelier a person gets, the more reasons the brain manufactures to stay lonely. This is not a personality flaw. It is not a conscious choice. It is a feedback loop operating below conscious awareness. and it accelerates the longer it runs unchecked. 4 questions, not a diagnosis, a lens. Question 1. When the last relationship ended, was the reason specific to that person, or does it sound like a reason that could apply to anyone? Boundaries are precise. Avoidance generalizes. If the sentence starts with people always, that is a pattern, not a boundary. Question 2. After cutting someone off, did the social world stay open or did it shrink? A boundary removes one connection and leaves room for others. Avoidance removes one and raises the wall for the next. Track the direction over 12 months. Question 3. Is there anyone left who's allowed to see the unedited version, the tired, uncertain, struggling version? If the answer is no, if every remaining relationship requires performance, the structure is not a boundary system. It is a fortress with presentation-only access. Question 4. If someone trustworthy reached out tomorrow with genuine, no-strings warmth, would the first instinct be to move toward it or to find a reason to decline? Boundaries let warmth in selectively. Avoidance finds reasons to refuse it entirely. The flinch, that quick internal no before the conscious mind even evaluates the offer, is the clearest signal of which track is running. One step, not a plan, not a program. One concrete action for anyone who recognized the pattern. Contact one person this week who was cut off without a clear, specific, this person did this reason. Not to reconcile, not to reopen everything, just to send a signal to the other person and to the brain that the wall has a door. The discomfort of sending that message is not evidence that the wall should stay. It is the cost of checking whether the wall is still necessary. And the answer matters more than the discomfort. Boundaries protect. They are specific, intentional, and they leave the rest of the social world intact. Walls do the same thing at first, and then they keep going. They generalize. They grow. They recruit every bad experience as evidence that the next brick is needed, and the person inside who started by protecting themselves ends up imprisoned by the structure they built. The difference between the two is not visible in a single decision. It is visible in the direction over time, shrinking towards safety or expanding from a position of safety. The direction tells the truth that the relief cannot. On Wednesday, people who were not protected as children. The mechanisms underneath their adult patterns go deeper than personality. They go into the wiring itself.